So in previous videos, which I've had 3, I had a test of Tru-Tone Christmas bulbs, or lamps, however you want to say it. And I wanted to see how they operated and how they reacted when they were operated on AC power and DC power, and what they drew for wattage and amperage. And then later on I did shutter roll test to see if there's any flicker on AC power, depending on the shutter speed of the camera, which is a very good test of determining if there's any kind of flicker on these so-called LED lamps that either are just straight shot into AC power, or they got some electrical components into it, like electronics. And we did them tests to see if there's any shutter roll, and if you see any of them raising lines, it means that there's some flicker in the light output of the lamp. So in that first video there that I did, Dynatrak had a comment, wanted to know if there was any kind of different lumen differences between a Tru-Tone lamp and a regular 5-watt incandescent Christmas bulb. So I thought that was a good comment, and a comment to make a test on. And since I have the equipment here to do lumen test, and that was one thing I did not do on the very first Tru-Tone test. I was just smashing the lights against the light meter to see if there was any kind of varying output between running Tru-Tone lamps on AC or DC power, which is not really a very valid way to measure the lumen output or lux output, because lux and lumens are pretty much the same. When you run it through a contraption like this, which is a lumen tube or a lux tube, so there's no mathematical conversions you have to do. So now we're going to do a valid test on traditional incandescent C7s. So these are 2 5-watt incandescent bulbs, and I've chosen red amongst anything else because I don't have any of the Tru-Tone like candle type lamps, but I do have red. So we're going to do a little lux lumen test on the C7 incandescents versus LED Tru-Tones. See what we get for lumen output, or lux output, however you want it. We'll call it lumen output. So I got my test rig here for measuring lumens, and I did have to get a little piece of hardware to do this test. So this is one of them replacement little shove it up your anus type contraptions here that you use to light up blow molds or ceramics and stuff like that. It's got that weird looking clip on it, and that's all it is. It's just a C7 socket that's been Draculide to SP1 wire, and of course it's got a switch and a fused plug, stuff like that. So we'll get a baseline here on a standard incandescent clear 5-watt lamp here to see what the lumen output here is. So we'll get our little rig here set up. So this little guy came with an LED, which is kind of interesting in itself. So here's our normal incandescent 5-watt Christmas light or night light, or however you want it to be. So we'll stick our little lamp in there, and we'll plug it in, and we'll see what we get. So right now we'll turn our meter on. So as we can see, we get no light leakage because I did a little bit better job of mounting the sensor, unlike my LED torch test where there's always a little bit of leakage. So I fixed that. So it doesn't matter what we get here. And then besides, it's dark in here. So the only thing that's on is, of course, the computer screen. The overhead ceiling fan light is on bare minimum in night light mode. And, of course, behind you is the Christmas tree because it's still December. When I'm doing this is actually December 28th. So Christmas season's almost over. So we'll plug our night light in. So we're our 5-watt baseline. So we'll get a baseline here. So start taking notes because I'm not going to do it for you. So 7.3. You gonna go up any higher? A little bit more? Come on. We'll call it 7.4 lux. Probably as the bulb warms up, it probably gets a little brighter, but it's probably not gonna go much up. Probably past 7.5 when it steadies out. So we'll call it a baseline of 7.4. on an AC. Now let's hook this up to a DC just for giggles, just to see what it does. So we got our little 121 volt DC power. So we know it's clean power because there's nothing behind it other than straight, direct DC power. We'll turn that on. So already on DC power, we've already increased the lux numbers. Now that's interesting. Of course, if you want to really get into it, of course, this power supply is on my UPS, and my UPS is saying 118 volts. So 118 volts, 120 volts, there's only a 2 volt difference. I don't think there's that huge of a difference, but in the luxes, we do have a difference between AC power and DC power. Very interesting. So we got our baseline. So I hope you've written that down. So we'll take our control out. So now we got our so-called 5-watt incandescent, same type of lamp, except that it's got an outer coating that's red, and it's a little chipped up and stuff like that. You know, typical, outside coating stuff. But it's the only thing I had in the hoard. So we'll put that back on the our little tester here. We'll go back to AC power. So we got 2.18 lux. It might get up to 2.2. There we go, 2.2. So that's our number on lux for AC. So now we'll go to DC. About 2.4. So write that down, boys and girls. 2.4 on DC. So we got that. So that's awesome. So now we got to get a Tru-Tone. So I'll grab a Tru-Tone behind you, and we'll test that. So we'll get a red one. So here's our little Tru-Tone. You can see the little LED filaments in there. If I can get it to spin around, where are you? Here's our little can't even see it really. There's our little Tru-Tone. Okay, we got that. So now we'll connect this little guy up to back up to AC power. Okay, so now we'll connect this up to AC. We'll get our lux test. So on AC power versus our incandescent, it is a little bit dimmer than incandescent, and that probably varies on the coating because the coatings are not quite the same between the two lamps. Because the Tru-Tone has got a little bit nicer coating on it than the. Of course, you can see it obviously that the Tru-Tone is a little bit darker than the incandescent. So now we'll do our lux test on DC power. Get our bulb sitting in there nice. 2.1. So that's been consistent across the board between all three lamps. That on DC power they put out a little bit more light. So that's interesting. So you would never know unless you had some maniac like me to actually test it and have the proper equipment to do it correctly. Is this 100% scientific and proven? No, it's not, but it's the best a hobbyist has got, because the real world test is actually in a sphere. The actual testing device, it's actually a sphere with a measuring device on there. But this is very good for a hobbyist. So 2.1 lux on DC power. So there are your numbers for lux and light output on the AC versus DC. So that's very interesting numbers. We'll put that back on there. So I got just to kill a little bit more time, we got our little LED that come with the cord here. So we'll test that just for giggles, because by time you've already clicked off anyway. So So this thing has no electronics in it. Just like the Tru-Tones. There's nothing in the bottom of it. So it's whatever the filament takes for the voltage. Of course, it's going to flicker and everything else. Because it's, you know, LED off the mains. So it'll flicker. So we'll put our little light in there. We'll hook it up to AC. Just for giggles. So this little guy, I don't know what it's got for wattage or anything like that. So 15 lumens on AC power. Of course, as the LED warms up, it's probably going to go down a little bit. But you'll say, well, what is it for wattage, you know? It's one of them Amazon things because you don't really know. So we'll test it. Let's see what it is. Because we can test that. We have the power to do such a weird thing. And it's so low, it doesn't even register. So it's probably only drawing a couple of milliamps. So I only got two decimal places over to test that. But if you notice that I got a little Wago connector in here, so we can test that. We can test the how many milliamps that little sucker draws. So we'll set our meter to AC for testing AC amperage. And then we can plug it in. So that's what it draws for milliamps. 2 point something. Since it's jumping around, we'll say 2.3 milliamps. That's what these little guys take. So not a lot of power, and that's why my particular meter doesn't pick up on it, and I don't think our little kilowatt will pick it up either. But we can test that to see if it picks it up. I don't think it will. Nope. Of course, it's only 1 decimal place over, so it won't pick it up. Okay, we're done with the AC power now, so now we don't have to worry about how many milliamps it draws on AC power. So now we can test this, how many lumens this guy takes on DC power. So we'll stick our bulb back in there. So for this particular test, the lumens actually went down on DC power, which would make sense for this one because now we're only drawing about 1.5 milliamps on DC power. So that's interesting. Very interesting numbers, very interesting tests, very interesting facts that we have gathered on our little Lumen test, testing various lamps. So that's pretty cool. Wouldn't happen anywhere else here but in this laboratory of wackiness. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.